Are you a scaling SaaS founder?
Ready to make the leap from leading a team to leading an organization? Join us each week as we refill your think tank with actionable tips and strategies from great business minds you know and those who don't know yet. This is SaaS Fuel with your host, 5-time entrepreneur, SaaS founder, and globetrotting adventurer, Jeff Maines.
Welcome back to the SaaS Fuel podcast, where Santa is a SaaS founder too. He's running a global subscription service with zero churn, infinite user retention, and absolutely no idea how to scale beyond 8 reindeer. I'm your host, Jeff Maines. I help B2B SaaS founders like you grow from traction to scale. Here, growth is more than just numbers. It's about crafting a future-proof company, premium valuation, and leaders who build a business of significance while living epic, adventurous lives. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy Hanukkah to my Jewish friends as well. This season is a beautiful reminder of the things that truly matter: family, connection, gratitude, and the opportunity to reflect on the journey we've all been on this past year. For many of us, the holidays mark the end of a chapter and the start of something new. And I hope this episode inspires you to celebrate the wins, learn from the challenges, and prepare to step into 2025 with clarity and confidence. So as you sit back, sip your hot chocolate, or enjoy some time with loved ones this holiday season, I hope today's stories give you fresh perspective and actionable takeaways for the year ahead. Whether it's embracing a bold new challenge, stepping into leadership with greater empathy, or maybe celebrating the little wins, there's so much we can do to make 2025 a year of extraordinary growth and impact. Let's dive in and uncover the lessons, the stories, and the strategies that will help us start the new year strong. Our expert guest last week was Teresa French, founder and CEO of Sellmark 360. Teresa revealed her groundbreaking approach to sales success, sharing actionable strategies from our Conversation Copilot system to help teams crush quotas and build lasting client relationships. From trust building to discovery techniques, her insights are a masterclass in turning conversations into deals. Want to know the number one question your sales team isn't asking that could change the game? It's all in this episode. And our founder last Tuesday was Dan Uyemura. Dan shared how he transformed his experience in running a gym into a SaaS success story with Push Press. He delivered powerful insights on leadership, hiring the right talent, and embracing the long-term greedy thinking to build sustainable, impactful business. Curious how this mindset can future-proof your company and drive lasting growth? Yeah, listen now. Today's episode is a special one brought to you by yours truly. I do that a few times a year, and I'm thrilled to be bringing you a unique mix of personal insights and professional wisdom from an experience I had just last month. So I will transport you now through the magic of story to a tiny town at the southern border of the U.S. 2,683 miles. That's the distance between giving up and proving everyone wrong. That's how far Carlos walked before I met him at the southern border. Where he started, that will surprise you. But this is more than just a story about long walks and the road less taken. It's about what happens when someone refuses to accept other people's limitations. So last month I was in San Diego for a mastermind with some of the smartest and most generous leaders I know on the planet. And I had a little time and looked for something I've never done there before. So I headed south, down to this little border town called Jacumba. It actually reminded me a lot of South Texas. And secretly the real reason I wanted to go was because I wanted to make a stop by the southern terminus of the Pacific Crest Trail, the PCT. The Pacific Crest Trail stretches all the way from Canada to Mexico. The southern terminus is on the US-Mexico border, the northern terminus at the US-Canadian border. It would take 5 or 6 days to drive that distance, 4 if you never stopped. But hiking, that takes quite a bit longer. But every year, thousands of hikers start this journey, north to south, south to north, but only 20% finish. The rest, they encounter something that breaks them. Could be physical, could be mental, or both. Sound familiar, entrepreneurs? I think it's really very similar to the entrepreneurial path that many of you listening right now are walking. So stay with me. This is the raw truth of what it takes to scale. When I arrived at the southern border, I met some hikers who had just finished the trail that afternoon. Yes, all 2,653 miles of it. I was fascinated by the process and had 100 questions. None of the hikers there knew each other prior to meeting on the trail. One was from Germany, another Belgium, Alabama, Texas, way to represent, and Washington via Mexico, a guy named Carlos. Carlos was an engineer, originally from Mexico, who lives in Seattle and took time off in between projects to walk across the country. You know, who does that? Why? I had to know more. I couldn't help but think that starting a business is a lot like standing at the northern terminus, way up at the Canadian border, staring down the first mile of the PCT. The trail ahead seems kind of endless. Kind of like our business plan. It's the map. It shows the destination, but not the 1,000 daily decisions and unexpected detours or the moments that test every ounce of your resolve. You can drive to the southern terminus. That's what we did. That's the easy way. But I didn't know this. To get to the northern terminus, the starting point for southbound hikers, it is a 30-mile hike itself just to get there. It's a hike to get to the hike. And timing really matters, especially when crossing the Sierra Nevada mountains. So Carlos got his permit and started to hike in July, which is actually pretty late in the season. And of the 1 in 5 hikers who finished their average time, 5 months. That's the level of commitment, and kind of like you entrepreneurs, right? Well, excited and ready for adventure, Carlos met some other hikers at the starting point. They had studied, planned, and prepared really well. And after a brief conversation with Carlos, they told him, turn back now. You're not prepared. You got the wrong gear, the wrong clothes, your pack is too heavy, you don't have enough food, reason after reason. And they weren't just suggesting to reconsider. They were painting a vivid picture of likely failure. Just give up now, dude. Save yourself the pain and embarrassment. And it was probably from a place of genuine concern, but not helpful at all. But just like those well-meaning voices that tell entrepreneurs things like, the market's too crowded, you don't have enough funding, there are bigger players out there that'll crush you. Sometimes the loudest doubts come disguised as wisdom. Anyone had people like that in your entrepreneurial journey? Did you reconsider? Did you give up? Carlos didn't. In fact, day one, Carlos walked 26 miles because sometimes you need to put distance between yourself and the doubters, even when that doubter is the voice in your own head. Sometimes our inner critic is the loudest. But starting strong is one thing. Staying strong, that's where both trails and business reveal their true nature. Success isn't just about that first burst of energy. It's about how you manage your resources for the long haul. The trail teaches you to be resourceful and adapt. You can only carry so many supplies in your backpack, right? Every ounce matters. Every decision counts. Sound familiar, founders? Your resources are finite. Your energy, your capital, your time. They're all precious commodities that you have to manage wisely. Hikers call it a gear shakedown. It's when experienced hikers help newcomers reduce their pack weight by eliminating unnecessary items. When Carlos started out, his pack weighed 45 pounds, but by the end, 18. And every scaling business goes through its own gear shakedown. Those complex processes that worked at startup size, the multiple software subscriptions, the meetings that used to involve everyone. At scale, they're dead weight. Success isn't just about what you add, it's about what you have the courage to eliminate. But lightening your load is only half the equation. The other half is knowing exactly when and where to refuel. Here's where it gets interesting. On the trail, resupply points are everything. You're constantly calculating, how much food do I need until the next stop? How much water to the next reliable source? Water's heavy, but absolutely critical. Can I drink this? I don't know. How much energy to the next rest point? Scale-ups live and die by the same calculations. How much runway until the next funding round? How many sales to break even? How much capacity until we need to hire our next sales rep, our next support rep? It's all resource management under uncertainty. Your dreams don't have to shrink just because your resources do. They just need to get smarter. And the landscape is always changing. Just when you think you got it all figured out, everything changes. And it was the same on the trail for Carlos. He faced different challenges at each section. The desert, water management, huge. Sierra Nevada's snow navigation. Oregon, forest fire. Part of the trail was closed behind him due to fires. He's outrunning the fires, craziness. Washington, massive storms. But each section demanded different strategies, different skills, and way different gear. Your business faces the same sectional challenges. Early stage, product market fit. Growth stage, operational efficiency. Scale stage, organizational structure. But each phase requires different skills, different strategies, and different tools. As if that isn't enough, then there are the unexpected challenges. Carlos told me about a moment when a sudden snowstorm trapped him at 11,000 feet. And his choices? Either push forward into dangerous conditions, retreat back to safety, or wait it out and burn through supplies. Every scaling business faces these moments too. A key client threatens to leave, or they do. A competitor launches a better product, happens all the time. Or the market suddenly shifts. Or you're bootstrapped and your competitor gets $50 million in funding. I have that conversation 3 times a month. So what do? Do you push forward and burn cash? Do you retreat, preserve resources, or hold positions and wait for conditions to improve? Decisions determine destiny. 2.5 months into the hike, Carlos had an encounter with a gnarly monster that hunts hikers everywhere: blisters. But not just any blisters. Carlos showed me some pictures that made me a little squeamish. These weren't the kind of blisters you get from breaking in new shoes, and we're talking like deep quarter-size wounds that turned every step into torture. I mean, it's the kind of thing that makes every step a negotiation with your own resolve. For almost 2 weeks, Carlos was sidelined. Not just slowed down, completely stopped. In the middle of nowhere, watching other hikers pass by day after day after day. Watching his carefully planned schedule slip away. Watching the weather window for the Sierra Nevada section slowly closing. Each passing day brought more doubt, more frustration, more questions. The real kicker? The blisters didn't come from rookie mistakes. They came after Carlos had already conquered hundreds of miles, after he refined his gear, after he thought he had the whole hiking thing figured out. But that's the thing about both trails and business. Sometimes your biggest setbacks come right when you think you've mastered the game. But the trail doesn't break you, it reveals you. Carlos had 3 options: quit entirely. After all, he'd already proven the doubters wrong by making it this far. Skip ahead to the next section, technically completing the trail, but knowing he left a gap. Or wait it out and heal properly, even if that meant missing his timeline. Anyone who's faced a major business setback knows these choices. Do you shut down? Do you take shortcuts? Or do you accept the delay and do it right? It's a tough decision. Carlos chose option number 3. He hobbled into the next small town, spent money he hadn't budgeted for a little cabin, and focused on healing. He used the time to study weather patterns, connect with other hikers passing through and online, and revise his gear even further. What felt like a failure became a forced reset, a chance to rebuild stronger. Every setback is just a setup for a comeback. Sometimes the trail blocks your path, so you can find a better one. After 2 weeks, he's feeling recovered, rested, ready to resume his journey the next day, and had dinner with another group of hikers at a little restaurant in town. And you'd never guess who wandered in. It was that group from day 0 that told him to quit. Don't even start. Go back home, dude. They were shocked to see him, figuring the trail beat him weeks ago. But it didn't. He was still playing the game, and he was playing to win. This crisis taught Carlos something crucial about sustainable progress. Those blisters, they weren't just bad luck. I mean, they were his body's way of saying he'd been pushing too hard, trying to maintain an unsustainable pace. It was a painful but powerful lesson about the differences between short-term speed and long-term endurance. Speed wins sprints, pace wins marathons, but persistence, that changes the game entirely. Ready to future-proof your company and scale to new heights? Dive into the ultimate resource designed just for SaaS founders and C-suite executives. Champion Leadership Group gives you an unfair advantage in scaling up revenue and outwitting competitors. Imagine solving your biggest scaling headaches and hitting 5, 10, 20 million ARR and beyond with ease. We take away the guesswork and the grunt work and replace it with framework by supporting you with our on-demand fractional C-suite team, a powerful operating system built into software, and a thriving community of fellow scaling SaaS founders. That's how we make it happen. If you're stuck at your current revenue level, this is your ticket out. Feel like your company is the world's best kept secret? We amplify your success. And hey, if you're already crushing it but too busy to breathe, we got your back. We'll free up 20% of your time in the first month. Now is the time to upgrade from traction to scale. If you're ready to work smarter and not just grind harder, schedule a 10-minute growth brainstorm. Completely free, not a sales call. You can't buy anything on there. And we will pinpoint the number one thing blocking revenue. Visit championleadership.com. That's where leaders evolve and companies transform. The trail has a term, trail magic. It's when strangers show unexpected kindness to hikers. And maybe it's a ride into town, a hot meal, or just an encouraging word. In business, I think we need a little more trail magic. Experienced entrepreneurs reach back, help those just starting out on their journey. And that's the biggest reason I do what I do, including this podcast. Carlos shared some of the trail magic he received. Online communities of trail angels, which are volunteers. They give updates, offer help, ride services, even refill water storage tanks along the way. Pretty great community. Helps to know, the water tank you expected to refill from tomorrow night might be empty before you get there, or that someone just refilled it. Another huge help was trail magic from short-term hikers or weekenders. They would bring lots of food and supplies for their short little trips, sometimes on purpose, and then give away all their remaining food when they headed back home. Huge score for thru hikers. Celebrate every victory, right? I got to be a little final bit of trail magic and give Carlos a 2-hour ride to the airport. Transformed from strangers to friends. It was a pretty quick change. The trail changes you, and building a business changes you as well. Both show you what you're really made of. You don't overcome the mountain. I think the mountain overcomes you and strips away everything you're not, until all that's left is who you were meant to be. Success leaves clues. Failure leaves lessons. The wise collector gathers both. And sometimes the most valuable lessons come from the most unexpected moments. I asked Carlos about his greatest lessons from the experience, and without hesitation, he said, "I'm stronger than I thought." And I was like, I love that answer. Can you relate to that? That was so good. So I dug deeper, and he said that he had doubts even before he started, and those first hikers telling him to quit multiplied those doubts by 10,000. In fact, he didn't tell anyone that he was going to hike the entire Pacific Crest Trail, not even his parents. Well, not at first anyway. So many hikers fail, he didn't want to feel like he let other people down, and that kind of hit home. I've played small when I really wanted to own it. How about you? Really good reminder to play full out and just go all in and commit, win or lose. When Carlos reached the end of the trail, Canadian border to Mexican border, he didn't strike a triumphant pose. He simply touched the marker and smiled. He did it. He succeeded against all odds. 4 months, 1 day. No big celebration, no medal, no fans to cheer him on, no accolades, no reality TV crew, no $1 million prize. He took off his boots, sat down in the dust, and pulled out a small notebook. And inside were the names of every person who helped him along the way. Trail angels who left water, strangers who offered rides, the bus driver who shuttled hikers between the campground and stores in town, fellow hikers who shared supplies, even the doubters at the start who unknowingly fueled his determination. And that's when it hit me. We talk about success like it's a solo journey, especially in business. It's the myth of being self-made, like it's just us against the mountain. But in reality, it's about the footprints we follow and the ones we leave behind. And more than that, it's about how the mountain changes us. Because here's the truth, every step of these impossible journeys makes us stand a little taller. Every challenge we overcome adds to our stature, not just in miles covered or revenue earned or businesses exited, but in who we become along the way. To those of you in the middle of your own impossible journey right now, maybe you're at your blister moment. Maybe the doubters are incredibly loud. It happens. Maybe you're staring up at your own Sierra Nevada moment and was wondering how you're ever going to cross it. But remember this, every great trail was once called impossible. Every summit once deemed too high. Every successful entrepreneur was once told, that'll never work. The difference between impossible and inevitable, usually about 12 months and 1,000 no's. But what sets our community apart is we don't just climb mountains, we build elevators for those coming after us. We don't just forge paths, we leave trail markers. We don't just succeed, we send back coordinates. So tonight, wherever you are in your journey, just take a moment. Look back at how far you've come, not just in distance, but in growth. Look forward to where you're headed. And most importantly, look around at who might help you along the way and who you can help. Because someone's going to ask you one day about your journey, and when they do, I hope you'll smile and pull out your own notebook of names and tell them about a day that you decided to keep walking. Tell them how each challenge transformed you until one day you look down and notice that your shadow stretched longer than before, not because the sun had changed, but because you had grown. The trail doesn't just teach you how to walk, it teaches you how to lead. Because true pioneers don't just blaze trails, they build bridges. So keep going, friends. The trail ahead is long, but you are stronger than you think. And who knows, maybe somewhere down the line, someone will tell a story about how you were their trail angel. How you were the one who left water in the desert. How you were the one who said, keep going, when everyone else said, turn back, you can't do this. Your biggest achievement won't be the summit you reach, but the hikers and climbers that you inspire, because that's what this journey is really about. Not just reaching our own terminus, not just our own mountaintop experience, but helping others find theirs. and growing tall enough to cast a shadow that others can follow. Share the story with someone who needs to hear it today, someone who is standing at their own trailhead wondering if they should take that first step. Because sometimes all it takes is one story to turn the impossible into the inevitable. Merry Christmas, y'all. Enjoy the journey. Well, thank you so much for listening and spending a little of your holiday season with me. It truly means the world to have you here, whether you're tuning in for inspiration, insights, encouragement, or simply a moment of connection. Your time and support make this journey so much more meaningful. As we wrap up today's episode, I hope you found a spark of motivation or maybe fresh perspective to carry with you into the new year. Wishing you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and a 2025 filled with growth, success, and immense amounts of joy. As always, all links, highlights, resources, and full show notes are available at saasfuel.com. And be sure to check us out on YouTube as well. Full video episodes. We've got shorts, we've got training, we've got outtakes, lots of stuff over there for you. Thought leaders share. Share this episode with a friend who thought Elf on the Shelf was a productivity app. Everyone who shares this week gets a holiday SaaS survival toolkit, complete with a peppermint scented burn rate chart, an AI-powered mistletoe detector, and unlimited Jingle Jam virtual holiday party licenses. And sadly, no one attends those either. So which one of those is your favorite? Drop me a note. Join us this Thursday on our SaaS Fuel Expert Series where we have Peter Kuhn. Peter spent his career in sales and leadership. If you need help building repeatable sales pipeline, refining consultative selling, scaling growth efficiently, or nailing your market positioning with storytelling, this episode is a must listen. So good. And then next week on our founder episode, we have Cody Schneider. He is a prolific inventor using AI to refine digital processes. As CEO of Draft Horse AI and Swell AI, he crafted celebrated solutions streamlining content workflows for accelerated results. With experience rapidly scaling startups, Cody transforms organizational bottlenecks through innovative automation tested diligently. That's definitely another episode you won't want to miss, and our last one of the year. So I will see you next time. Merry Christmas, y'all, and as always, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening to SaaS Fuel. Full show notes for each episode, which includes a summary, key takeaways, quotes, and any resources mentioned, are available at saasfuel.com. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're enjoying the content and getting value from these episodes, please leave us a rating and review at ratethispodcast.com/saasfuel. We'll be sure to read these out on future episodes.